you shouldn't be waiting until January. Like, you should not be waking up on the 1st of January feeling like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders because you need to do all of these different things. You will burn out so fast. I'm telling you now. You need to start now, not in 2025. Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, if you're new here, my name is Bethany, and here at The Curated Feminine, I help women to connect with their most incredible, best lives and become the most incredible version of themselves through different modalities such as feminine energy, elevated communication, polarity, and magnetism, and so much more. Now, today we're going to be talking about how to end 2024 on a high note, how to end it as strong as possible. You'll be seeing a fair few videos around right now on self-development channels about the fact that you shouldn't leave things until January to get started on what next year looks like. And I 100% completely agree. I've been doing this for years, where I make December almost like a month of really closing things up, wrapping things up, looking at what I'm grateful for, looking at what I've accomplished that year, and setting up new habits for the new year. And every time I have done this, the year after has been even better than the year before, right? There is continuous growth when you're able to do things this way. So that's what we're going to focus on instead of getting to January and then restarting, which is not how you build habits. It does not work. This is why most New Year's resolutions never come to fruition. They never actually happen. So if you want to end this year on a high note, feeling really beautifully set up for next year, and if you want to know how to handle the lull between Christmas and New Year's where everything feels a bit weird and you don't know what day it is or how much chocolate you've had, then this video is for you. All right, so the first thing you want to focus on, I'm going to give you, it's almost like the 10 commandments for ending 2024 on a high. The first thing you want to look at is taking stock of everything in your life this year and what's worked and what could be better. So the first thing that you're going to focus on is taking stock of your friendships and where they're at, and whether you're happy with the friendships that you have, and whether you're happy with the way that you contribute to your friendships. So I'll give you an example. One rule that I created last year that I have held fast to this year is that I will not make new friends who do not have a deep respect and love for their partners. It's not happening. I'm not having friendships where the women don't take radical accountability for their own actions. And I won't have friendships where there is not a deep love in marriage, because anytime you have friends in your circle that are resentful of their partners, you become resentful of your partner. It's just what happens. This is collective consciousness. We influence each other in such subtle ways. So that's my rule. And this year, I've made 2 new, incredible, beautiful friends who deeply respect their husbands. And that only happened after I became aware of it and chose that going into 2024, I will not have friendships where there is not a deep love and mutual respect within their marriages, within their partnerships. It's just not happening. So going into 2025, I'm keeping that same rule. So look at your friendships and think about, like, if you made any goals last year, were they met this year? Are you happy with how your friendships have gone? Are there areas that you should be improving on in your friendship circle? I've realized with great humility that this year I've judged others more than I care to admit. And I'm very bravely admitting it here, but there's been times in my friendships where we've judged other people and their actions hypocritically, because I don't know about you, but I am incredibly imperfect. I have so many issues because I'm a human being. So going into next year, one of my goals is, like, we will not be judging others with our cup of tea, feeling like we are, somehow greater than in specific areas. Just because we learned something and had a great leap in wisdom doesn't mean that suddenly we know everything. So that's going to be a huge goal next year, is we will not, in any way, in any of my friendship circles, there will be there's already a lot of kindness and a lot of, like, we talk about ideas, not people. That is a rule in my friendships, but that rule has been broken a few times this year, and it's not going to be broken next year. So that's a huge goal in my friendship circle. So take stock of your current friendships. Are you happy with them? And make goals for the new year. What do you want your friendships to look like next year? All right, next, I want you to reflect on your relationship and your relationship standards this year. Now, if you're single, here's what I want you to do instead. I want you to look at the traits that you want in a partner and ensure that you are embodying them. So your goal for next year could be, like, first you're going to look at, did I embody the things that I really want in a man this year? Like, if I want a man that's funny, am I funny, or am I sometimes so uptight that I forget to have a sense of humor? Like, that can be very common, especially if you're a highly conscientious person. Could you afford to loosen up a little bit so you're attracting somebody with an amazing sense of humor? And so look at the areas this year that maybe you haven't fully embodied the things that you really desire in a partner, and make a goal for next year. Make a list, make a beautiful list. This is how I found my husband, by the way. I got married very young. I basically married my high school sweetheart. And I had a very specific list of things that I wanted in a man. And 2 months later, met my husband. I'm pointing upstairs because he works upstairs. I met my husband and we just celebrated 15 years of being together. And we've got 3 gorgeous kids together. So making a list, like I am proof, it works as long as you are embodying things that you desire in a partner too. You need to embody a lot of the similar traits. If you want a partner that's really hardworking, you must also work hard at the specific endeavors that you're really passionate about. So that's what you do if you're single. Now, if you're not single, if you're in a relationship, I want you to look at what were your relationship goals this year, and did you meet them? A relationship goal could be that you have weekly meetings together to discuss finances or goals for the relationship. A relationship goal could be that you both really regulate your nervous systems so that you have calmer disagreements. It could be that you both hold true to not name calling in your relationship. Like some people really struggle with that because that was normal growing up to call each other names when you have an argument. So look at what your relationship goals were for this year and look at if you met them. And if not, tack them onto next year, make a plan to actually uphold them, and add a couple of new goals if that feels really good for you. Next, I want you to look at your financial goals. Okay, so this is point number 3. My mentor that I've been working with for a long time now has this saying, good things happen when wise women have money. And I love this saying so much, and I hold it really near and dear to my heart. Most everybody that watches my videos are women. Hey, girl. And there's a really important shift happening with women right now where we are learning to have total accountability for finances. So one thing that I speak a lot about is feminine energy. I am not here to create an army of women that feel like they never need a man, because there is nothing wrong with relying heavily on a partner. This is where beautiful partnership happens. But even if you are, let's say, a stay-at-home mother, I have a few clients who are stay-at-home mothers. Even if you're a stay-at-home mother and you don't have to have personal accountability for finance, what you should be responsible for, like a financial goal for you next year, could be getting involved in a charity where you really learn the ins and outs of their finances and how to help them raise funds. It could be learning how to maybe invest in the stock market if that's really easy for you to do. It could be learning how to budget different things in different ways. But either way, no matter what your situation is, if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for somebody else, if you are a stay-at-home mother and you don't need to be the main breadwinner, whatever it is, you should have financial goals, always, always. So make financial goals. Because good things happen when wise women have money. Make sure that you have goals for going into 2025 and start working towards them now. Really important with every single point that I'm making here. You shouldn't be waiting until January. Like you should not be waking up on the 1st of January feeling like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders because you need to do all of these different things. You will burn out so fast. I'm telling you now. You need to start now, not in 2025. So if one of your financial goals, for example, is to budget a certain way, then right now, so write that on your vision board for next year. I'll tell you how to do a vision board in a second. Write that on your vision board for next year, and then I want you to start researching apps and their cost and what things they can help you track if budgeting is a goal for next year. If your goal next year is to start putting money towards a savings account for travel, because you really want to travel next year, make the savings account now and put $5, I don't care, put some level of money into it now so that you're already set up for next year and the habit has already begun to blossom. It takes 30 days to form a habit, supposedly. That's from Atomic Habits, but the research on that is a little bit unclear, but generally speaking, it takes 30 days to form a habit. So start the habit now so you're already halfway there by next year. Number 4, this will be very easy for you to do if you followed my video from last year on how to make a vision board. But I want you to celebrate your wins from this year. And you can do that if you want as like a ritual on the 31st of December. You can do that kind of that last week between the lull, between Christmas and New Year's. This is an excellent time to do that. But reflect on the things that you did this year that are a win. Celebrate the things that you did that are amazing this year. And I mean like pop a bottle of champagne and get together with some girlfriends or your partner and celebrate what you've accomplished this year. Because even if it was a rough year, life is seasons. Sometimes a season lasts an entire year and it's rough. Okay, so even if 2024 was really hard for you, Even if you had a lot of hardship, you can still celebrate the things that you accomplished this year. There will be many things, I guarantee it, but you have to actually sit and reflect, because human beings, the way that our mind works, because it helps you with survivability, is we tend to focus on the negative, right? So when it feels like it's been an awful year, and sometimes some years are genuinely awful, it's okay to acknowledge that. But if this year was really hard for you, sit down and look at what was good. Where was the goodness? Where was the accomplishment? What were the goals that you actually did accomplish? And then if this year was amazing, definitely be sitting down to reflect on it, because we are not here to tick goals off and quickly move to the next one without stopping to reflect and celebrate. Life is so short. And if you're not celebrating the amazing things that you're doing, what is the point? What's the point in doing them? You should be taking time to celebrate. Next is my favorite. It's having a vision board. One of the first things that I do when I work with new clients is we make a vision board together, because you won't be able to keep track of the moves that you're making towards your goals in personal development and growth and finances and marriage, anything, if you don't have a vision in the first place. You need to have a vision for the future. I do IT recruitment during the day, and I'm working with several new consulting firms now that are getting established here in Australia. They have to have a vision and a strategy, or nobody will want to join the company, because it seems like there's no structure. Like, how can you work towards something if you don't know what you're working towards? It's the same thing with life. You should be running life the same way that you run a business. You should run marriage in many ways the same thing that you run a business, but that's a whole other video. So if you don't have a strategy and a vision for the future, you will flounder. You won't be working towards your goals in the same way with the same level of like zest and passion if you don't even know what you're working towards. So start a vision board. I do these on Notion. There's a lot of different ways to do this. There is no right or wrong. I'm not a huge fan of having a physical vision board, because even though it's fun and you can see it, I grow all year long. And so my goals actually change throughout the year. So if you want a physical vision board, amazing, do that. But if you want something virtual, if you're more like me, the Notion is amazing, because you can go through Pinterest, right? You save the images onto your desktop or your phone. You can upload the images onto Notion. That part's slightly annoying, but at least you're very specific about all of the images that you have. And then you can make to-do lists that you can actually tick off. So I've got one for 2024. Almost all of those are ticked off. I've got one for 2025. I've already ticked off a couple of those, and we're not even in 2025 yet. And then I've got vision images rather to back up the vision for my vision board, so that when I'm feeling just when I wake up in the morning and I just don't feel like doing that, because that happens because I'm human, I log into Notion, I look at my vision board, I'm like, that's what you're working towards, baby. That's why you're doing this. So having images to back up your vision is really important, and Notion is one of the best ways to do that. All right, next is boring, but you must do it, and it's going to be over the holidays, so do it with a glass of champagne in hand, make it fun, put on some music, make it enjoyable, but you need to declutter your life. My plan over the holidays already is I've already decluttered one of my daughter's bedrooms. I've got 3, so I'm going to declutter the other 2. I'm going to look at donations, take things for donations. I'm going to clear a few things out of the garage. I'm going to be doing all of the very unsexy work so I can start next year sexy, because when you have things cleared out, you can take stock of what you have already and what you need. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but have you ever bought something that was already in your closet? Like, I'll give you an example. I have been looking for a really cute red sundress for 2 months. I'm very picky. I already had one in my closet, and I didn't even see it, because my closet is in need of a little bit of organization. I normally color code it. It's not currently color coded, so I couldn't see it, right? So when you take time to physically declutter your space, it helps you to go into next year with fresh, clean energy, ready to receive. Now, if you are a fan of the law of attraction and of abundance and of manifestation, if these are things that you truly believe in, which science backs these up, by the way, so you should, I digress, then you need to clear out the old in order to make way for the new. So my favorite time to do this is over the holidays, on that lull between Christmas and New Year's, where you seriously don't know what day it is, and it kind of feels weird waking up. And if you've got kids, your kids aren't in school, and everything just feels weird. Like you're so relieved to not be as busy as normal, but you also kind of miss having routine, unless you work in retail. And if you do, God bless you, because it's one of the most stressful times of year to be working in retail. But if you have an office role, or if you're a stay-at-home mama or anything else, then you probably have time off during that time. So that's a really good time to do that, is during the lull between Christmas and New Year. Start getting organized. Start helping to clear things out that don't need to be in your life anymore. Number 7 is to make a plan for your health and wellness. So I want you to look at your routines and what they look like, and if you love the current routines that you have. So I first did this exercise a few years ago, and the first thing that I realized is that I didn't love where I was going to the gym. I didn't find it inspiring. So I'm still actually going to the same gym now. However, I also joined a stunning Pilates studio, which I love going to. I've actually met a new girlfriend there. We get along like a house on fire. I absolutely love her. And I met her through Pilates, because there is something about if you're looking for a tribe, like if you are open to having new girlfriends in your life and you're not quite sure where to meet them, or if you're currently in a stage where you're lonely. I've been there. I moved to Australia by myself when I was 18, like for the love of my life, right? Which is amazing. So I had my husband, had no girlfriends, like really close girlfriends for years. It was the loneliest period of my life. So I know how that feels. If you're currently in a stage of life where you're feeling lonely and you are into wellness, which you likely are if you're on this channel, then one of the best places to meet girlfriends is at a Pilates studio, or if you're into boxing or something fun like that, is at a boxing studio. Whatever it is that you really enjoy doing for health and wellness, that's likely where you're going to find girlfriends. That's likely where you're going to find your tribe. Similar women tend to flock together to do the same kind of activities. So if you're looking for a tribe, that's one of the best ways to meet them. But I digress again. But if you are looking at your health and wellness routine and you don't love it, look at how you can make it sexier. How can you make it more you? How can you help it to align with the values that you have? Like for me, I've said this a million times, but aesthetics are really, really important to me. I love art. I love beauty. It just really does something for me. I will cry if I see something beautiful. When I went to Paris years ago, I just walked around the city just crying everywhere because everything was so beautiful. It's like, it spoke to my soul. Okay, so I love beauty. So going to an ugly gym is not an option for me. Some people don't care. Fabulous. I love that for you. Will help you save money. I've got to go somewhere pretty. So the Pilates studio that I go to overlooks the lake. It's stunning. I go for a little walk around the lake in the mornings before I go. I go to a very aesthetically pleasing coffee shop before I go, and this makes me happy. So when you're looking at your health and wellness routine, does it light you up? And if not, what can you do to change it going into next year? And again, because we're looking at not just 2025, but how can you end 2024 strong? How can you end it like a queen? Then what you want to be doing is the research now. So if you're like me and you want to join a really pretty Pilates studio, research now where you want to go. If you don't know, and like lock it in, go to a class before the end of the year, trial it out a few before you get to 2025 so you know where you want to go next year. If you aren't even sure what kind of health and wellness routine you want to have, get that locked in and trial it a few times before 2025. Do it now, girlfriend, right now. Number 8, I lied, by the way. There is 9 commandments in how to end 2024 strong. So this is the second to last one, but number 8 is to do a ritual to forgive yourself for anything that you need to forgive this year, to forgive others who may have wronged you this year, because it happens, because we're human beings and we're all just living in our own worlds and we hurt each other all the freaking time, right? So it is likely that you've been hurt this year because you're human. It's likely that you've hurt yourself this year, and there's things that you could forgive yourself for this year as well. So I want you to do a ritual. I'm going to drop a link with how to do this below, but you're going to do a ritual where you repeat a very specific mantra and you forgive yourself or others, probably both, I suggest both, for anything this year that you could have done better, for any goals this year that you didn't accomplish because you didn't put yourself first, for any areas that you wish that you had done better in, instead of any kind of self-loathing, because we are not here for that. Instead of being upset with yourself, I want you to let it go. So I'm going to send you, I'll put the link down below for a very specific ritual that you can do to go into 2025 with very clean, excited energy for next year. All right, and then number 9, this is the last one, is I want you to look at some kind of a mastermind or hypermind that you can join. This is one of the best ways to really accelerate your growth. If you have read Napoleon Hill or Dale Carnegie or anybody that speaks about growth, anybody that speaks about building wealth, anybody that speaks about self-development and having incredible relationships, they speak about the power of being in a mastermind, which is being in a group of people that have similar goals that are working towards those goals together, right? So this is different from a friendship group because sometimes friends are in different places in life. Like they do not have to be on the same trajectory as you, right? They should have similar values to you, but they might not have the same goals. A couple of years ago, my closest friend had a baby. She was in a very different place in life. So we were having super different conversations than the conversations that I was having in the mastermind that I was in. I'm still in it now. It's amazing. So there is something about being in a group of like-minded individuals, especially women, where you can wake up in the morning and see in your phone, because you can join them just in groups online, where they are kicking the same goals, experiencing the same kinds of pain because they're doing similar things. It will light you up like nobody's business. So I want you to look at joining some kind of a mastermind or hypermind before 2025 to set you up for next year. Now, this is an extremely shameless plug, but I have one that I'm launching in 2025 on the 1st of January. It's called the Curated Collective, and it is a highly curated group of incredible women. We've got 6 in there already, whose goals for next year will look very similar to yours if you're on this channel. It's $55 USD per month, and there will be monthly trainings on things like feminine energy, elevated communication, the art of negotiation, so much more, as well as a weekly Q&A with me and 24/7 access to each other. So you can talk to each other about things all day long. The hypermind that I am in with my mentor, I'm one of the most active participants in the group. I'm constantly dropping information in there. I'm in there sometimes even more often than my mentor. So when you've got access to other like-minded women in a group, it just elevates things to the next level. So if you want to join that, the link for that is down below. If not, either make a mastermind together. You can choose. You can do this for free instead. You can choose a group of women in your lives where your specific purpose is to work towards common goals. It doesn't have to be your group of girlfriends. It can be something else. You can join one online. I don't care how you do it. Make sure that you are in a group before 2025 of women who are working towards the same thing as you. It makes a freaking world of difference. It really, really does. Thank you so much for watching today, beautiful. I am so excited for what next year looks like for you, because no matter what's on your vision board, no matter what this year looked like, whether it was amazing or not, next year is going to be incredible. And while everybody else is saying next year is going to be my year, I want you to actually make it your year. I don't want you to sit around and wait for stuff to happen. I want it to be incredible because you freaking chose that it will be incredible now. And not only can next year be your year, but every year thereafter can be, because this is your life and you get to make of it what you will. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.